Well, good afternoon, everyone. How are y'all doing? Wonderful. Y'all ready for a good class? At least I hope so.
No, it will be.
Did you bring the clicker?
Clicker.
Okay, good.
We're good.
I left
so you
it.
guys, we want this to be interactive. Please ask us questions. Don't be shy. That's where we do our best, is when we get everybody involved. Because if you have that question, more than likely, someone else has that question too. Okay? So I'm Dina. This is Chris. And today's class is going to be your top 10 credit myths that every realtor needs to know. So as realtors, you guys probably get asked questions, yeah? And you're like, I'm really not sure how to handle this. So hopefully we can answer some of those questions for you today. And we will do our best. And if we don't know, then we'll find that out and reach out to you individually. Okay? So we are officially starting track.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure your ringers are off. If you need to use the bathroom, again, right through those curtains, you can reach the bathroom. If you have any questions, make sure to raise your hands or just yell at us. All right?
We do that. All right, you guys, so number 10, well, the goal for today is to have as much fun as possible, okay? We want to make this as educational as possible. So you guys, are we ever taught about credit?
No.
Credit? Do we learn about credit in school? Do our parents teach us about credit? No. They should, but it doesn't happen. Okay, so we want to make this as educational as possible, and of course, we've already said this, as an interactive as possible for you guys, okay? Don't be shy. So, credit myth number 10, are all credit reports created equal? What do you guys think?
No.
Why no?
Because they use different algorithms.
Who said that? Yes. But how many of your people that you're showing around their houses before they're pre-approved that say, well, my Credit Karma score says let's raise our hands. How many people hear that all the time? Okay? So one of the things you can always do to save yourself some time is have them get pre-approved with one of your loan officers. Credit Karma, you guys, is usually, Chris, how many points difference is it usually?
I mean, it really varies based on what lines of credit they have open, what ratios and all that. But generally, rule of thumb, I see a 40, 60, sometimes 80-point difference between a mortgage credit report and a consumer credit report. Now let's go on and make sure this is clear. This class is towards buying a home, towards mortgage-enhanced credit reports, not consumer reports, not Credit Karma, myfavoritecreditscore.com, et cetera, et cetera. All right, guys?
Yes, so you're right. The different algorithms is correct. So Credit Karma uses Vantage 3.0. And then when you're looking to do a home loan or refinance or HELOC, they're looking at Equifax, which is Beacon 5.0. They're looking at Experian FICO 2, and then of course TransUnion FICO Classic 4. Okay, so there is a huge difference. So always try and get your loan officer involved if they haven't gotten a pre-approval yet, or if they say they're looking at their scores through Credit Karma. There usually is a significant difference.
What I'm saying is not always on consumer reports do they report to all three bureaus depending on what the creditors are paying to report to, which is 100% true. It all depends on what they're paying to report. Remember, credit bureaus are not government entities, right? They're companies, and the creditors, collection companies, they're paying the credit bureaus to report this information. Who polices the credit report? What's that name of that government, that entity? Who's in charge of policing the report on a day-to-day basis for you? It's me, myself, and I, okay? I'm responsible, all right? So while there's other entities out there, you got the FBI that investigates, you have the FCRA that has put in guidelines and rules, right? But the day-to-day policing of your credit report lies upon you, lies upon your clients, okay? How many of y'all monitor your credit reports? All right, so we got 12 out of everyone else. Okay. How often, let me ask you, how often do you look at your credit report? At least check it once a month, guys. You know, that's our recommendation. While we're talking about how inaccurate or misleading the credit scores can be on a consumer credit report, it's a great tool to leverage to see what's reporting on there, if there's any inaccuracies or any fraud. Right, Dina?
Yes. Fraud, by the way, is on the rampage, even more so now than it ever has been. But Thank you guys for checking your report. For those of you that don't check your report, you should check it every 6 months, and if you can't do it at least every 6 months, do it once a year, okay? It's hugely important. We'll get into that a little bit later. So credit myth number 10.
Oh wait, number 9.
Number 9.
Medical bills don't count against my credit score. Yes, go ahead, Dina. Let them know the truth.
The truth is that when you're buying a home loan, they don't count against when you're doing a home loan, like your debt to income ratio, but they do affect your credit scores. Okay? So this is a big one though. Everybody's like, well, back in, what was it, last July, almost a year ago, they came out and said that if it was under $5, if the medical collection was under $500, it would be removed from your credit report. What do you guys think is happening with that? It's what?
Oh my goodness, have you been in our class
Yes.
before? Okay, so what she said is they're bundling. For example, you have the new rule, Dina said anything under 500 is left off, right? Not reporting. But what they're doing is they're taking a lot of these $100, $150, $200, $300, $400 ones, and they're bundling or packaging them together. Right, Dina?
Yes.
Elaborate on that.
So, Chris, we're going to use he's going to be my ex-husband today. He's going to be my example today. I'll give you an example. I have a client that I just started working with, and he had one for $79. He had one for $150, and 2 little ones and whatever. But they should be off the report, right? No, like this young lady in the back said, they're bundling them together. And guess what else is typically happening? It's re-aging those collections to the date they bundled them together. So they could be 4 years old. Now they're brand new. They'll fall off, and then they'll come back on. Okay? Pro tip, if you guys pay for it, pay the collection, before you pay the collection, get it from them in writing that they're going to do a paid for deletion. Because they are going to tell you whatever they need to tell you to get you to pay that collection. Why? Because they make money off of it. And usually what they'll send you is, we will update the credit bureaus. No. We want it to specifically say we will delete it from the credit bureaus.
So let's touch on that real quick, guys. Who knows what a pay for deletion is? 2. Okay. Dina, touch on that real quick.
Yep.
What's a pay for deletion? How do I do that?
Yep. So typically you'll get like a settlement or something in the mail. You call them and they say, hey, we will settle with you for $500 or however much it is. And you go to them and you say, okay, Chris, great. I want to pay that. Well, nowhere on there did it say they would update the bureaus, they would do anything. Typically what happens is the following month your report will update and it will now say settled or paid collection. It typically will drop your score after you've paid it, and it will re-age it to the date of payment. Now, paid for deletion is if you pay it, settle it, whatever you guys decide to do, within 45 days they will contact the credit bureaus and they will have it deleted from your report.
Raise the hands. Who knew when you pay a collection, it dropped your scores down once it reports as paid? That's good. I'm glad some of y'all have educated yourselves. Okay, so the other option is, like she said, pay for deletion. Don't worry, we don't expect you to memorize any of this. You can always touch base with Dina after the class if you want details or the proper way to do things.
Yes.
So, number 8, Dina.
Number 8 is if I'm in the market for a home, car, financing, or my credit score is not important.
True or false? All right.
Ooh,
Good
we
job, guys.
had a really good class. So you're right. Do you guys know, obviously probably it affects your ability to obtain a job. Nowadays they're doing background checks, fingerprinting, you name it, they're doing it. Okay? But did you also know it affects your auto insurance, your cell phone bill, electricity, water, gas, auto insurance premium?
Home, auto, any type of insurance now, they're pulling, when you give them your phone number and date of birth, they're able to get a soft inquiry credit pull and factor that into your premiums. So just because you're not buying a home, credit is definitely important. So now let's look at this. Number 7, having a lot of credit cards will help my credit score. True or false?
Who says true? Okay, why do you guys say true?
You may say, for example, if you have 10 credit cards, well, maybe the credit limit is 100K, but you're using only 8% or 7%. Still, your credit score is going to be more, right? But if you use it like 15 or 20%. So that is the reason it basically tells you, okay, this is how much you are have the credit, but you're using it so much. So you're maintaining your credit, everything, so your credit score is low.
That was a lot, guys. Dina, why don't you tell us what you got for us?
Okay, you guys, a good mix of credit that you want to have. This is to maximize your credit score. Does everybody know what an installment loan is? And if you don't, it's okay, but does everybody know what an installment loan is?
All right,
Yes?
so installment line, right? For those that don't know, an example would be an auto loan, a home loan, any type of fixed loan with a set price every month, right? So with that being said, a good mixture is 2 to 3 revolving credit cards, right, Dina?
Yes.
So what do you recommend to someone that, so it's not necessarily about a lot of credit cards, but a healthy mixture. What do you suggest to your people, to your clients, to your realtors that you deal with?
So he is right. So I'm not saying go out and get 15 credit cards. Do not do that, okay? But if I have an auto loan, I have 4 credit cards, but I use 2 to 3 specifically every month, okay? There's a certain percentage you want to keep your credit card balance to. Do you guys know what that is? Who said 10?
All right, well, you get the chicken dinner.
Yep.
Because you're the winner.
So, then I'm going to show you this here on the next slide. Here, in just a second.
We're jumping screens.
We are jumping screens, but anything over 10.01% or more, you start losing points. Okay? So, I use my one credit card for mileage. I'm from Seattle. I moved here 5 years ago. I fly back and forth a lot, okay? Don't talk about how I say things, like eggs, bags.
Bigs. She has to pick her bigs with eggs.
Oh my gosh.
She's from Seattle, guys.
So, I pay that credit card down to 10% or less of what my limit is before the due date. Okay? So, every credit card company reports, we have a due date, and then we have a reporting date. If you are not sure when your reporting date is, just call the number on the back of your card, ask them, they will tell you. If they're confused, don't be mean, just ask to speak to a supervisor or a manager, because they may not know the answer. But you want to ask them, when is the reporting date, which means that's when they're going to report that balance to the 3 credit bureaus. As long as you have that paid down before the reporting date, which is typically a week before the due date, you will not lose points.
Now, quick question here. Who said 30%? Okay, I heard a few people say 30%. So a good rule of thumb is when you have a client that comes to you, or maybe they come to your lender and they have maxed out credit cards, you're going to hear them say 30% all the time. And the reason for that is, guys, is because if you have someone with high balance credit cards, telling them to pay it down to 0 or pay it down below 10%, that can be overwhelming for a lot of people, right? So what we typically tell people is, hey, get your card balances below 30%, because once you get them below 30%, that helps their scores jump up a certain amount. But again, the perfect balance to keep your cards at, like Dina said, is under 10%. Okay?
And you want to keep it like that. The more you keep it like that, the more your scores will start going up. Okay? And that was kind of number 6. We kind of went a couple different ways with that. But remember, yes, 10% can be overwhelming for people. Try and get them down to 30, but 10% is that sweet spot. Okay? And then you're going to pay off whatever that balance is, and then repeat. Don't put more than 10% on there unless you're going to pay it off before. And then, so for instance, easy math, guys, it's been a long day. $1,000 credit card should have no more than what balance? $100, right? Then make minimum payments till it's paid off, and then repeat the purchase, right? So to maximize your score, have your balance no more than 10% of what the credit limit is. More than likely, you're going to make the minimum payment or pay it off, but then you don't want to have your card at a zero balance either, because you don't get points for it.
How many of y'all have heard a lender to tell your clients, hey, go buy a soda or buy a tank of gas and keep that on your card?
Yep.
Y'all heard that? Yes. Okay. The reason being is because some scoring models and mortgage reports require you to carry some sort of balance, even though zero you would imagine is the best. Below 10% is where they want it to maximize potential score or points on your credit report. But sometimes they want you to go buy a stick of gum or a soda just so it does calculate maximum points.
Sometimes they will cancel your credit card if you're not using it.
Yes. That is correct. That's one of the things we're going to talk about too. Yes.
Got to keep it open and active. So that's why we're telling you, continue to use it, continue to purchase on it, keep it open and active. Because a lot of times, certain credit cards have different requirements, but due to inactivity, they will close them out on you. So for example, with my personal cards, I have my light bill paid by one card, I have my gas bill paid by another one. I set up anything that I'm already using cash to pay for, I'm using them as my credit cards to pay those off. So remember, something to teach your kids, again, because there's nothing like this taught in schools nowadays. But if the credit card is used as a credit building tool, responsibly and safely, then they're going to grow up as a responsible borrower, right? And they're not going to get into credit card debt. It's those kids that get to college, it's their first day on campus, you have 30 different credit card companies offering them t-shirts, koozies, and all this free stuff if they sign up for a credit card, and then they're going down to the local beer store or the local buckle.
This is a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story. Real life here, guys. So, but I learned from my mistakes, and I've been teaching my kids everything, and we're actually going to get onto that here coming up too.
Yep.
What can you do for your kids to help them establish their credit and without risking your own personal credit?
Yeah.
But let's go to number 5, Dina.
Well, hang on, we're not done with number 6.
All right,
But
go ahead.
hey, really quickly, so he told you he does like his utilities. I do Hulu on one card because we all have streaming now. Well, most of us have streaming now, right? So I do Disney Plus on one because I have grandkids, and then I have Hulu on another. That way, I'm using it. I might as well just not have to worry about my card closing on me, right? And usually, you guys, cards can't, if they're inactive, will close. It's supposed to be after 3 years, but some can close after 2. And they're supposed to send you a letter letting you know that. So if you get that letter, don't ignore it. Because if that card closes, Chris's card's 20 years old, and it closes, what happens?
I'll lose that payment history, right, guys? It gets closed out, and now my scores are dropping down. So, yes, it can be a big deal if you've had a card open for a while, and then it gets closed out due to inactivity. So take that serious. Go put gas on it, or go buy a soda or a pack of gum. Use that credit card. Don't let it close out.
Yes. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm going to step out of the way here. And I can email this to you guys tomorrow morning, but this is how your score is calculated. 35% of your score is payment history. What do you think happens to your score if you get a late payment? Anyone? How much do you think it drops by?
It depends.
It depends. So I have a client that just got a late pay on a credit card, dropped in 97 points. One late pay. 30% is amount owed. That's why it's so important to have it down below that percentage. 10% is new credit. So what would be new credit, you guys? Yeah. Applying inquiries, right? So you don't want to have your clients going out and applying for a lot of stuff all at once. It's going to hurt their scores. On an average, it can drop your score 1 to 3 points. And I have seen the 1 to 3 points make it so somebody couldn't get into a home.
Dina, quick question. On that note, what do you recommend to the clients that are going through the home buying process? They're pre-approved. Do you recommend them going to Nebraska Furniture Mart and buying a home? No?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I was just double checking, making sure y'all are still awake. Okay.
Yeah, because people will do that. Well, I'm pre-approved, not a big deal. And then they get their credit ran again. And we've had clients that have said, I got denied because I just went and bought all my furniture.
Raise a hand. Who has had a client right before closing go buy a new vehicle, furniture, something?
That gentleman's
I know.
laughing right now. She's shaking her head. Everybody's going like, no, 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 no. So just don't do it. And then 10% is credit mix, and then 15% is the length of your credit history. So if you've got a great credit history or length card, like his 20-year-old credit card, and it closes, that's going to affect the score by 15%. Okay. Here is how the percentages affect the credit. So down at the bottom, 0 to 9.999% is 0 points missed. 10 to 19.99, you can see it just keeps going up and up and up and up on how many points you can lose.
And this is the percentage, guys, not dollar amount, right? So if you're at below 10%, the 9.99, you're losing no points, and it just escalates. It goes up from there. All right. So just think about if you had 3, 4 different credit cards maxed out. I mean, there's potentially a lot of points you're losing out right there.
I can send this one out too if you guys would like.
Who wants a copy of this one?
I heard somebody over here.
All right.
Number 5, you guys. As far as my credit is concerned, this is one of my favorites. If my divorce decree states that my ex is responsible for the account, it won't impact my credit.
True or false? Who knew that in the state of Texas, a divorce decree does not supersede a contract? Nobody knew that? Okay, we have a couple heads back there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Dina, I love this portion of the class. Can you tell us about John and Jane and his, well, you take it from here.
I thought you were going to be my ex-husband tonight.
Okay, I'll be John and she'll be Jane.
So we get divorced, we're signing the decree, and he gets the house, I get the car, and I don't know, The Rock comes into town and we get married. I love Dwayne, whatever his name is.
Let's be real.
Okay. So I start dating again, or he starts dating again because he gets the
I got
house.
the house. You met the pool boy that was cleaning our pool.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Right. And so you never refinanced the house out of your name, right?
Right.
And hold on. Then I find out that you're building a house with your new pool boy that you're now engaged to. Guess what I start doing, guys? I start paying my mortgage late, intentionally.
Yeah.
30, 60, 90 days late, and I get caught up. Why? Why am I doing that? Because I'm trying to mess her credit up so her and the pool boy are still living at Motel 7.
Hey now. So I literally do have a real client that this has happened to. So 30, 60, 90 days late, she'd get caught up, and she'd do it again over and over and over again. Do you guys know what the, what's the word I'm looking for? How long it has to be before you can close on a new home loan? How long the late has to be from? The last late pay has to be at least a year or more older. And even then, you can't guarantee closing.
Yep, if you have more than one late pay within a 12-month period, most lenders cannot get you closed. So now that I'm rolling those lates every month and paying them late just to be vengeful, I don't know, just that pool boy, he has a six-pack and all that, and I just can't.
20 years younger,
20 years younger. He has a full head of hair. Anyways, yeah, so the point is, again, we're not attorneys, we're not giving legal advice, but the point of the matter of the fact is, if your client is going through a divorce, make sure they have something in writing, maybe the divorce decree, maybe they're aware of that scenario. There's some sort of language in that divorce decree. While, they can omit that out of the liabilities, a lot of times you cannot omit that late pay once that spouse has started paying late. So that's what we're looking for. A lot of times, there's a lot of benefits of getting it refinanced out of their name, not just the debt to income ratio, but the late pays mostly. That could really hurt you.
Yep. So again, we're not attorneys. Have some type of wording that says they have until this date to get it refinanced, or before you sign on the dotted line, he gets refinanced and I get the auto loan refinance, whatever it is, so that you're not running into this problem
It happens all the time.
all the time. Okay, number 4.
Let me read it.
Okay,
You ready?
yep.
Pulling my credit report and settling all the collection accounts is the best thing for my credit. True or false? It
It
depends.
depends. Yep.
No, you're right. It depends.
No, you're absolutely right. So we're never going to tell your clients not to pay it. However, let me explain why we don't necessarily recommend it. So we spoke about it a little bit ago, but go and pay that medical collection. It's 5 years old. Following month, it updates as a paid collection, drops the score, it re-ages that collection now to a brand new collection date, when it probably would have fallen off in 2 years. Okay? So, although we want to do the right thing and we want to make sure that we pay off our debts or what we owe, it can hurt us again. They've already hurt us once, it can hurt us again as far as our credit score goes. So this is where that paid for deletion comes in. Ask them for a paid for deletion. If they won't give it to you, I don't.
Well, it depends, right? What's the
Right.
circumstance? One circumstance where I'm going to tell you, hey, it's okay. It's when you're going through the home buying process,
Yep.
and the lender says, hey, client, I need you to pay these off. In that scenario, they have the what if finder, the way finder. They have these simulators that they can utilize to get the loan closed, right? But if the client calls you up, oh, I just want a scratch off ticket, I have an extra $1,500, I'm going to start paying off collections. Red flag, red alert. Have you talked to your lender, guys? No, I just, these collections I think is what's best. Okay, let's talk to your loan officer. Let's see what is best. Because it may be leaving those collections alone and paying down your credit cards, right? There's a lot of different scenarios. So allow the lender to tell them, let them be the bad guy and say, yes, pay these collections off. Or no, don't pay those. Don't stay in your lane, be the realtor. And we all know realtors, right? We're trusted advisors in here. You're a confidant, you're someone that shows houses, you write contracts, you're a divorce therapist, you're, what else? What are they? What are some other things that you are as a realtor? Babysitter, you're holding the hand through the start to the finish. You're a decorator, a home stager, you're a plumber,
Parent.
advisor, parent,
Yeah.
all types of things. But the one thing you aren't is you're not a lender, so make sure the lending portions, those questions go towards them, and that way it doesn't cost you the loan, doesn't cost them the loan or the home, okay?
All right, you guys, number 3, when I pay a collection account, are they supposed to remove it from my report? We've kind of talked about this, but who's the credit police, you guys?
Us, right,
Us.
ourselves. We have to watch, look, review our reports all the time. Like Dina said, minimum at least every 6 months or at least every year. Me personally, I'm checking it at least once a month, if not more, and I just want to make sure, one, is everything reporting properly, or is there anything that shouldn't be on there? Guys, since COVID, a lot of these scammers, these hackers have had a lot of time to get creative and figure out how to hurt more people and how to cause more fraud and everything else. So the due diligence, the responsibility, everything based on your credit score is on you, okay?
Just to throw in on that, do you guys know what doesn't have to run, or what the people are committing fraud on right now? It's really big that they don't have to run your social security number. Say again. Thought I heard somebody say it.
Tax returns,
Tax returns?
PPP.
I have a Houston police officer right now that got called into his office, and they said, "Why are you filing unemployment?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? I work here." That's how he found out $39,000 in unemployment benefits.
Wow.
These people during COVID, what did we do a lot of during COVID? We didn't see each other, so what were we doing a lot of?
Watching Netflix and chilling.
Yeah, Amazon. online applications. I have a cute little young lady. She's not young. She's in her 80s. They got her information. She's been with this bank for years, and like we're talking 30 plus years. They went on and did an online loan application, and they got the money.
Oh my goodness.
So it's big right now. So like Chris said, even if you can just check it every 6 months, please do so. There's things that people can do that way you don't have to run your social security number.
And remember, guys, consumer credit monitoring sites do not place hard inquiries on your credit. It doesn't hurt it. Remember, we're not looking at the scores because, again, compared to mortgage enhanced credit reports, they're not very accurate. They're very inflated. We're looking at these credit monitoring sites to see what's on there, how they're reporting. Is there any erroneous or frivolous information reporting on there? Okay? So she said that she got a consolidated loan. It was for $10,000. She eventually got it paid off, and she was never late. And if it wasn't for her keeping the documentation, receipt, proof, stating that she completed that loan, she would have been in a lot of trouble because they tried to collect another $7,000 on her. So good for you. Keep it in writing, get it in writing, and don't, hang on to it. Always in writing.
Always. Yeah. So she was just saying that she sees a lot of people that always has an apartment complex or a broken lease or a home, anything like that where they might have gotten out of the lease early or someone had to be removed from it because of a situation and they didn't get it in writing. I probably talked to, how many people do you think I talked to a day?
I know sometimes you make upwards of 150, 200 calls a day,
Yeah.
but some busy days,
I would say
40.
80% of those people have that on their
Yep.
report. Yeah.
And then they can't get in because
Yes.
it's in both clinics.
Yep.
Now, before we
Yeah.
jump to myth number 1, anybody have any questions on anything we've covered so far?
Wait, we have number 2.
Oh, we didn't do number 2?
No, it's kind of,
Oh.
we're still kind of talking about it.
Oh, okay. My apologies. So let me do my movie theater voice. You ready?
Okay.
Top 10 credit myth number 2.
It is the credit bureaus and collection companies' responsibility to make sure my credit report is accurate. True or false? You guys, there are so many people that work there. Yes, it's getting more automated, but there was a special, what was it, 2020? A couple years ago? Tell them how many fat-fingered errors there were.
I don't remember. You tell me.
Over 15 billion fat-fingered errors. Now, truth be told, things are getting more automated and it's happening less and less, but it still happens. You're a prime example of that, right? So, again, you, your clients, whoever, make sure you're checking these things because it will be detrimental for you, okay? Number 1. Okay, Chris.
Hold on. Any questions up to this point, guys? No? All right, I guess we're putting them to sleep. All right, myth number 1. Should I use my grace period on all my accounts? No. Okay.
Why
Who
do you-
knows? Well, let's make sure they know. Who knows what a grace period is? Raise your hands if you don't know.
We don't know?
I don't know,
Okay,
Dana.
and
What
it's
is
okay.
it?
It's okay. So I'm going to use the auto loan as the example, right? Your payment's due date is here, but on the statement or the little coupon it says, but you can pay until this date and not be considered late, but you might have to pay a fee.
Ooh, tell them about the guy. We're not going to say names because he's here today, but
Oh boy.
tell them about the guy that went on vacation and he was in Mexico and he had no internet. And if it wasn't for him having his payments set up automatically, he would have been late because, that was what it was. Visa had a glitch in their system, and so the auto pay didn't work either.
Yeah. So, yay for a glitch in their system, right? But he was in a different country, and if he hadn't had it set on auto pay and continued to be on auto pay, he would have just caused himself anywhere from 30 plus points on a new late pay. By the way, really quick, who knows in here how long a late pay will stay on your credit report for?
Forever. No.
No, seriously, does anybody know? It can stay on for 7 to 10 years. Late
forever,
pay.
guys.
What about inquiries? Yes. Now, it's usually that month, 2 months and a couple, it could be 2 years and a couple of months for it to get all caught up and removed, but yes. Yep.
The property debts do come off sometimes every year, sometimes.
Sometimes, same with bankruptcies.
Depends if the date of last activity gets renewed, right, guys? So if they
Yep.
get resold, bought, this, that, the other, or if you call and make a payment on something and it's not deleted off, guess what? It's going to stay on there another 7 years.
You know, speaking of that, that's a great question. Do you guys know what the date of last activity means or is?
Man, you're teaching this class next time.
Mm-hmm. So it also can mean if you call them or you take their phone call. We do have some collection companies that will do that.
Yep. Yeah, it's loose out there in the guidelines. So like you said, it can be contact, communication, payment, a whole bunch of things constitute for a renewal of date of last activity. So again, make sure if your clients are telling you that they're going to do something, make sure they have it okayed by the lender or their credit professional. We all the time have realtors calling us because their clients are in a client credit program where they're getting help. And if you're not communicating with that counselor, that consultant, start doing so, because it's your loan, it's your home, right? You're investing this time into this client, and if you're staying along with them for however long it takes for them to get their credit right, you better get involved. Don't rely on them because they were already in that scenario to begin with, and it's a few extra steps, right? But hey, it's a pipeline you're building when you're holding your clients along the line of not just showing homes, getting approved, but when also getting their credit in order. And it can be as simple as just opening up positive lines. It could be more than that, you know. So there's a lot of things, but the more educated you are, the more involved you are, I would assume, hopefully, the more business you're going to have.
They're coming to you for the questions.
All right, guys.
We're
Any
gonna call-
questions?
Well, wait, we're not done.
Oh, gosh.
Who has teenagers? Young adults?
Oh, okay.
Okay, we told you how we were going to tell you how to put your kids on the right track and not end up with a beer t-shirt and tons of credit card debt. So they're in high school, his daughter just graduated Saturday.
Actually, the young lady checking you in at the front table, that's
Yes.
my daughter.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We can use her as an example with what I did and then
Yes.
with what you did with Maddie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So actually she's like, hey Dad, she's working at Chick-fil-A when she was 16. She's been there already a year. She goes, Dad, I think I want a new car. And I go, do you now? And she goes, so will you co-sign? And I go, what do you even know about co-signing? And she goes, well, I already went to the dealership. I have the car picked out. I know what I want. They told me you need a co-sign. I go, did you fill out anything? And they said, no. They told me they needed you. And I go, okay, why? And they're like, because I don't have any credit. So I'm like, cha-ching, because she doesn't know she has good credit already. But one of the things that I will never do for any of my kids is co-sign. I will all day add them on as an authorized user onto a credit card. What that does is it mirrors and reflects my trade line onto her credit report. So without her knowing, she actually has a 740 credit score and nothing negative on
Don't
there.
tell her. She doesn't know.
Yep.
She's out there. Don't tell her.
Exactly. So don't tell her, guys, that she has
Don't
good
tell
credit.
her.
But also, I said, what car are you wanting? She goes, oh, I want a Toyota Sequoia 2022. And I'm like, that's like a $70,000 vehicle. Like, and she goes, yeah, I make like $1,200 a month. My payment will be $1,100. And I'm like, we're not doing that. So she's still driving the same Toyota Camry. That's 2010, gets 40 miles to the gallon. But if you want to help your kids out, instead of, because you know if you co-sign for them on a vehicle, student loan, or anything, and they default, that hurts your credit as well. The
Yep.
loophole is
Yeah.
authorized user, right?
Yes. So I love my daughter, but I love my grandsons more. Don't ever tell her that if you meet her. But I do love her. But when she was 16, I added her to my Chase credit card as an authorized user only. Now, adding someone as an authorized user or having someone add you can hurt you as well. It's really, really important, you guys, that you hold to this criteria. You want it to be the oldest credit card possible. Okay? 10 years or more. The older it is, the better the score.
With high balances and late pays on them, right?
No. High credit limit, little to no balance with excellent payment history. Now, I'm going to call the number on the back of the card and I'm going to say I'm going to add my daughter to this credit card. I'm going to give them all the information, including her social. That way it will report to that. They're not going to run her credit, but it will start reporting to the credit bureaus. Okay, but it has to be that kind of a specific perimeter that you stay within. Okay, they're going to say, Dina, do you want your daughter Madison to have a credit card? No, no, and no. However, credit card companies now are saying, well, we have to send a card. Great, send it to my house. What are you guys going to do with it? Put it in a safe, cut it up. Do you think I told her that she was on my credit card? No. She graduated at 17, turned 18 a couple weeks later. She paid for her own college, got her own car, was able to get into an apartment. So you do not have to tell them they're on the card. I added her when she was 16. When did you add Jada?
When she was 16.
16.
Actually 15, but yeah.
Yes. So if you guys have teenagers, that's a really good path, or young adults, that's a really good path to put them on. They don't have to know anything about it.
Last on this topic, guys. So another cheat code, right? So people are always calling us, and again, they're seeking guidance from a professional. And so this is something as well. Hey, on my first home, I actually had like a 670 credit score. I thought I was balling out of control, you know, and I was getting my first house. My lender at the time actually stated, hey man, if you can get to a 720, you're gonna qualify for a 4% rate versus a 6.5% rate. So I called my father. He added me on to his American Express, and we're like 45 days out from closing. I thought we're good, and the reporting date was supposed to be a certain date. Guess what happened? It didn't report on my credit report. You want to know why? Because when he called in on the back of that card, he called and added me on. I actually got a card. He messed up on that. Anyways, but it wasn't reporting. And so my lender goes, oh, did he give him your social? So I'm like, I don't know. So just like she stated, he called back and just in the nick of time, 3 days before closing, they were able to relock me in because it was a broker. And I got that 4% rate. So my dad was able to add me onto his card. I got that jump to like a 752 mid score. And I qualified for a 4% interest rate instead of a 6.25. I don't remember it was a long time ago. But that's a cheat code for your clients. Now I'm not telling you to tell all your clients go add authorized users, but if they're ever trying to jump, 10, 20 points, if it's a healthy mixture and a healthy option, tell them to discuss that with their credit consultant and or their lender, because most lenders nowadays have a credit team behind them, helping them behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Okay?
One last thing too, if you're calling, because I know some of you are probably going to go home or tomorrow call your credit card companies and add them, make sure before you hang up the phone with the credit card company to ask them, please make sure this reports to all three bureaus on their behalf. Okay? Because if they say, oh, they're not going to, that might spark, we got to give them the social security number, right? But just make sure before you hang up with them, hey, you guys, just please make sure this reports to all three credit bureaus on her behalf.
Yeah, so there are companies out there that will. So what she's saying is to add someone as an authorized user, there's companies out there, but a lot of mortgage companies are getting wiser to that. I would never pay anyone because, again, I have friends, I have family that I will seek out and ask, hey, would you mind adding me on? You can always take me off whenever you want. Yeah. I'm not going to pay $1,200 because, that's a good chunk going towards my down payment, my closing costs, my new furniture, my new vehicle, my driveway after I close, a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you guys. So even though we're still taking questions, you guys, I'm officially ending the track class so we can actually speak more freely with you guys.
The class is now officially over. You can turn your ringers on and whatever.
But we do want to keep asking questions and answering questions for you guys. So I have personally been through the credit repair process. So I'm the person that works at ACE Credit Consulting. I'm the one that helps your clients get to where they need to purchase their home. I had a ton of medical collections. My score was in the 5s. do not pay someone to add you, do not pay $1, $50, $1,200 to have someone add you as an authorized user, you guys. There's no reason to do that. It doesn't charge them anything. It's literally them calling the credit card and adding you on there. Okay?
It's like a 3-minute phone call, guys.
Yeah.
It's not worth anybody's $1,200 for that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
again, we're not attorneys, we're not giving legal advice, but we're giving you real life experience. We've been doing this since 2006, okay?
Yeah.
And we cater not to the public, we don't cater to the consumer, we cater to the home buyer going through the home buying process. We get 100% of our referrals from realtors and lenders, okay?
And previous clients.
And previous
current
client
clients.
referrals, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, guys, hey, you officially graduated this class. Everybody scored a 90 or above, so you're good. I wanted to say thank you for joining us. Feel free to get with Dina.
Wait.